Hey Kings and Dragons, Dragon King 551 here, and today I'm going to do another Star Wars theory video. So, this one is going to be about when Anakin Skywalker is in the Chancellor's office, and basically the Chancellor says, I beg you to use my knowledge and my teachings to save Padme's life. Now, Anakin obviously finds out you're the Sith Lord, and Chancellor says, are you going to kill me? And Anakin says, I certainly would like to kill you. And he says, good, I can feel your anger. And he says, I'm going to turn you over to the Jedi Council. And he does. My theory is going to go a different direction, where what if Anakin had actually killed Chancellor Palpatine? How would that change the story? In my aspect, it's going to change the story completely on a different route. So, Anakin has his lightsaber still in his hand, thinks about it, and just lunges it right into Chancellor Palpatine and kills him instantly. That's the end of Palpatine. No more. He's dead. Now, do I think Anakin would turn to the dark side at that point? Not necessarily. I mean, he would probably go learn dark side teachings and be a force wielder of both light and dark, but I don't think he would execute Order 66 or do any of that stuff. But he would appoint himself or Padme as the acting chancellor, because they are obviously Padme or Bail Organa at the time, Senator Organa, or Mon Mothma, one of them, or possibly Anakin if he's in the right mind, are better suited chancellors, because they have no evil intention. So Anakin would obviously want more power to protect his wife and stuff. And he would kind of, I think he would resent the Jedi Council more unless, well, obviously Mace Windu, it's kind of being unfair to him. Unless the Jedi Council saw that he'd stopped a real threat like killing the Chancellor, they would be very proud of him and potentially give him the rank of Master, and he wouldn't resent them as much. However, if he was not gifted the rank of Master, I think he would resent them. However, Ahsoka would return with Darth Maul, and now Darth Maul will be pleased that his master has been killed. Eventually, I think he would escape and return and train his own student, find a student suitable, like maybe Ezra Bridger or someone else. But so Ahsoka would be there, and she would probably be on Anakin's side because, and I think Ahsoka would be knighted, but she would protect Anakin and be with him and Padme. Then Padme would give a healthy birth to Luke and Leia. And Anakin, I don't think he would turn evil until Maul threatened his children or tried to kidnap one of his children to make his new apprentice. Then Anakin's anger would start to boil, and he would use the power of the dark side and kill Maul. And then that would be the end of Darth Maul. So yes, I think Anakin would not necessarily turn to the dark side, but perhaps he would go down the path of being basically a similarity of the will of the Force and the dark side. He would be in the middle, and I think there is one thing in Rebels, the Pandu, or the Bendu. I'm sorry, the Bendu. The Bendu was the name of the guy. He's the man in the middle. He's just a force wielder of both light and dark. He doesn't choose sides. He's all that there is just the Force. And that's kind of like what Yoda was. He was very skilled in the Force. He was able to redirect lightning with his hands against Chancellor Palpatine. Mace Windu, Master Windu, was also very skilled in the ways of the Force. He used the powers and the intentions of the dark side. He was able to grab the dark side's power and use it in his more aggressive fighting style. So that's why, at the time, I don't think Anakin could easily have killed Chancellor Palpatine if it was a legitimate fight. But if his back was just turned and he stabbed him right through the chest, then yes, Anakin kills him, and that's the end of Chancellor Palpatine. However, if Chancellor Palpatine and Anakin were to fight, or Mace Windu and Anakin were to fight, I don't think Anakin would survive those two battles if Mace turned evil, or Anakin was evil and he wanted to be the Chancellor, and now he's the evil Chancellor. So my point is, Anakin, I don't think would turn necessarily evil, but he would have force abilities very similar to Mace Windu, of using the power of the dark side and the light side. And basically, I think Yoda would meditate on it and say the attachment rule must be established now. It must be a thing, because I've talked about it several times a long time ago in thoughts, and my thoughts on it. And my thoughts are, how can attachment or love be weak? Love is not weak. It's a gift. It's a very powerful thing in against evil. Love kills evil, basically. Love is strong. And in the end, that's kind of what happens. I mean, Anakin turns evil, but then the love of his son comes out and shines him, and he breaks his evil heart. And basically, he remembers Padme and Leia and all his kids, and he just throws freaking Chancellor off a balcony and kills him in the end. So, again, my point is, Chancellor Palpatine would die by Anakin's hand. He would stab him. So, if Anakin had stabbed him, I don't think Anakin would necessarily turn evil. But if something were to happen to his children, then he would turn potentially to the dark side, but not fully be in the dark. He would still be in the light, but he would use the abilities of the dark side and call on those powers to help him win the battle. So yes, potentially I think that Anakin would know the threat, kills Chancellor Palpatine, knows about the clones, and then he becomes the Emperor or the Chancellor, if you want to call it that, and or Padme becomes it. I think Padme or Anakin would be suitable. But personally, I think Padme is the better candidate. So obviously, Anakin wants more power. So his wife gets obviously Chancellor, and then he is basically her bodyguard, if you will, or the second in command, assisting Chancellor, if you want to call it that as well. And I guess they would figure out the threat of the clones, remove their inhibitor chips, so then execute Order 66 could never happen until the threat of a new evil would rise, such as Maul, perhaps, or perhaps Chancellor Palpatine would return somehow. Remember, he can return. He is able to recreate his life and stuff, as he was originally the student of Darth Plagueis, and Darth Plagueis was able to learn everything except save himself from death. But then again, Chancellor Palpatine may have learned something new that Darth Plagueis didn't, and he could have saved himself. So maybe Chancellor does return, but however, now he's an emperor, and somehow he gets his empire in one way or another. But the Republic still exists as well. So I think Anakin would still be in the light. He would gain the respect of Mace Windu as he killed a major threat. He would get the rank of Master, but I think that they would appoint Padme as Chancellor. He wouldn't want that power, because once you start down the dark path, it dooms you from the very beginning and takes everything from you. So those are my thoughts. I think Anakin does. So again, Anakin does kill Chancellor Palpatine. He does not go down the dark side because the memories and those visions are gone of Padme dying. His master, Obi-Wan, pleases him. Master Windu respects him now. And Chancellor Palpatine is dead. And basically, the war's over. And Anakin can finally find peace and live on Naboo with his wife, or live on Coruscant, and she can be the Chancellor. So those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the bottom, in the comments, and what you think, what truly would happen. Those are my thoughts. I think Anakin would stay in the light. I don't think he would be dark, because, again, Chancellor Palpatine did put the thoughts in his head, and that's kind of what Snoke. Well, I don't want to say Snoke, but I want to say because Palpatine and Snoke were the same person. But that's kind of what Snoke did with Rey and Kylo Ren. They put their mind together and gave like these weird visions and connected their minds together. And that's kind of like what the same thing Chancellor Palpatine did. He was trying to put these visions inside his head. First it was his mother, now it's Padme, and once those visions are gone, that's basically it, and he wouldn't turn to the dark side. So those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, don't forget to stay radical. I'll see you in the next one, and yeah.